From the Pyramid at Cal State University Long Beach, this is Los Alamitos Sports as we present semifinal playoff action from the 1AA Boys Division as the Los Alamitos Griffins take on the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. Hi everybody, my name is Willie Padilla. Joining me, Ed Ratliff, former star basketball player right here at Long Beach State, and we've got a great matchup for the semifinals. The right to go to the finals, and the team that wins this game will play on Saturday night at the Pond, and it's a great matchup indeed, a great local matchup when you talk about Los Alamitos and, of course, Long Beach Poly, two teams that have been top of their list all year long, and it's going to be a great matchup.
I think it's going to be a great game, Willie. I think the difference in this game is going to be the defense. Palmer's Poly, they do a great job of handling the ball. They take care of the ball. When it comes down between both teams, whoever can hold the other team down from scoring consistently is going to win the game.
In fact, sports fans from this area might remember a high school football game from not too long ago in the quarterfinals of Division I when Los Alamitos and Long Beach Poly got together in front of 12,000 fans at Orange Coast College. That was a defensive matchup that Los Alamitos won by a final of 7-0. So it's really no surprise that the defense translates into basketball as well.
You're exactly right. Even though they played football some months ago, these two teams both remember that. At school, I'm sure that it was brought up by the football team, hey, take care of the win tonight, or let's get them back. So I'm sure the basketball team now going in against the other team, they really want to win tonight.
In fact, you look at this matchup, and one of the big things that was made, Los Alamitos being the Orange County school, Long Beach being from LA County, so to speak, and of course the Press-Telegram gets in the middle of that, showing so much publicity for the Los Alamitos football team, and deservedly so. And now, here it's basketball season, so there's a rivalry that has begun, beginning with football season, and I'm sure it's going to come to a head in this matchup.
You know, you're exactly right. It's always a rivalry against CIF. You're talking about the inner city of LA or Long Beach going into Orange County. But you said it exactly right. Anytime you have two teams that play so hard in football, basketball is a different story, but it still means a lot to each team.
And then you talk about this place that they're playing in, the Pyramid. Everyone talks about John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, and the team that wins this one will have a successful season. In fact, both teams have had great seasons thus far. Los Alamitos 22-7, Long Beach Poly 19-9. So neither of these teams really have had a bad year thus far.
You know, they both start off pretty slow, and they have come back later on during the year, and they both starting to play really well. But coming into the Pyramid, each team want to go away from here tonight saying, this is the first high school team game played here at the Pyramid, and we're the first team to win here at the Pyramid. So it really means a lot for either team, and the coaches, that gives them bragging rights because they're so close to each other. Even though it's Orange County and Long Beach, it's just across the freeway.
Let's talk about some individuals first for Los Alamitos. They are led, and their team goes by Ali Tan. This kid is amazing, especially defensively.
You know, he is very quick, and everybody talks about him. He is a player that's going to play the whole game. He comes out, and he goes from start to finish, and he's going to give Poly a lot of problems because he loves to play hard, and he's a very quick player.
In fact, not like those players that play above the rim. He plays close to the floor, so you want to watch him. And defensively for Long Beach Poly, Michael McDonald really has to have a big performance, and of course, Larry McCann offensively for the Jackrabbits.
You know, Larry McCann's going to try to score, but you're talking about Michael McDonald. He's a defensive player, and he works very hard at it. His dad was a defensive specialist here at Long Beach State, so it kind of carries on from father to son, but I'm surprised Michael McDonald doesn't score more points because he is a very talented player and a very good shooter.
It's going to be a great matchup. The Los Alamitos Griffins, 22-7, facing the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits, 19-9. My name's Willie Padilla, along with me, Ed Ratliff. Stay with us. Los Alamitos Sports is next, and it's semifinal playoff action. Hi everybody, welcome back to our coverage of the CIF Boys Division of the CIF Southern Section as the Los Alamitos Griffins and the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits get together. I'm Willie Padilla along with me, Ed Ratliff, and this is the first ever high school basketball game being played in the confines of the Pyramid as the tip controlled by the Jackrabbits, and they open with a burst, but Ali Tan stripping the ball away from number 25, Damien Dawson, and that's what I meant about Ali Tan playing defense close to the ground. You know,
he got his hand in on the ball as Dawson was going in, but from this angle, it looked like he got a little bit of wrist with that, with the ball going up in the air like that.
You'd have to do like a water polo check and check the fingernails to see for sure.
You know, you have to. What happened, Dawson looked at the official, didn't really argue very much, so maybe it was a pretty good play by Ali Tan.
Now, we talked about this prior to this ball game getting started that Ron Palmer, the head coach of the Jackrabbits, he's not opposed to pulling the basketball out and slowing things down a little bit. Ball stripped by the Griffins. Nice job by number 52, Sean Russ, stripping it away from the Jackrabbits. He got it away from Leland Matthews. Ton posting up of all people. Three-pointer on the way, missed. Taking it was Corey Johnson, no relation to the former AD here at Long Beach State. Shot in and good as the Jackrabbits draw first blood. Laying good by Damien Dawson.
Damien Dawson's a great athlete. They really look for him to score, and he is their leader on the scoring system. But what happened was, you get the ball down like they did there, he's going to go behind. Anytime there's a shot in the corner there, Willie, like there, a player from Poly is going to release. But you said it earlier, if they don't have a shot, Ron Palmer's club, they will bring it out and they would just milk the ball around until they get the shot they want.
All you have to do is go back to their quarterfinal victory for Long Beach Poly, in which they allowed only 25 points. That's some teams' quarter output, let alone an entire game.
You know, what they do is Poly, they hold the ball and they're very deliberate on offense, and that's why they can hold it down.
Sean Russ hits using all the friendly height room here at the Pyramid as he got a high arcer in. Drive, dish out, Dawson has it. Behind the three-point arc. Mike Jones, the senior, did a little shuffle step. McCann's shot missed. Loose ball battled for, inside, shot missed. Out of bounds to Los Alamitos. Mike Jones was inside. Hey, he's the senior. He's got to make that easy lay-in.
You know, Mike Jones is all by himself, but you know, anytime you get the ball down, you're a little bit pumped up. Mike Jones went up for it, went up a little strong, but you're exactly right. In a game like this, you've been through the whole season. Those are the ones you don't miss. Those are triples. You should make all those.
Aliton to Jeremy Vandervoort, the big guy for Los Alamitos. Gets the kind bounce off the glass and good.
That's a shot I like to see big guys make, Willie. Jeremy, he got the ball down the blocks. The thing to do, if you have someone that's taller and jumps pretty good over that's guarding you, the higher you shoot off the glass, the easier to get the shot off. If you're going for the rim alone, you don't shoot it very high, and you have a chance of getting a block or very good defensive pressure on your shot.
Vandervoort, who needs to pick up some weight before he gets into college. Shot missed. Sean Russ gets a rebound, and right now Sean Russ is playing a pretty darn good game for Los Alamitos as he's making an impact. Chris Glass misses. Rebound, batted out. Ali Ton gets the loose ball. Ton, and he is the epitome of the extension of the coach on the floor. Slows everything down. Nice dish. Sean Russ.
That's what I'm talking about right there. The ball got down low. As Russ got the ball, he used the glass. Well, anytime, like you said earlier, use the glass, it makes it much easier. You know, you had Mike Jones going for the ball. And Mike Jones, a big-time jumper. Very easy to get over top of the outstretched hand of Jones when you come off the glass.
Thus far, Sean Russ having a career first quarter. Loose ball is, I believe it was Jones that lost the handle. Once again, the big fella in the middle, he's the senior. He's got to be the calming influence.
And it looks like Poly's a little bit tight. They haven't passed the ball very well. Missed some very close shots, and that's not like a Ron Palmer's team. They're very good around the basket because that's what they work on every day, but it seems like they're a little tight.
Ali Ton got called for too many steps as the first minor miscue on the part of Sean Russ. He did not get into the position that Ali Ton was expecting.
You know, that's what happens with a lot of point guards. They have the ball and they anticipate the guy coming out. And it happens all over the country. And as Ali Tom is going to make the pass, the player he's going to pass to was either taking a step backwards or the defender stepped in front of him, and then he let that back foot come down for a travel.
Larry McCann, who we spoke about, has to get things sparked up offensively, and he does just that. Two-pointer hit, and it's now a two-point lead for the Griffins, 6-4. 4:29 left first quarter.
You know, McCann is sort of like the guard they had up here at UCLA right now. He didn't take a lot of shots. McCann shooting more than the player at UCLA, a little guard up there. Tyus Edney,
who played at Long Beach Poly.
Edney didn't shoot very much at the point guard until he had to on that team when he was at Poly. And here McCann, he shoots a little bit more, but they're both a little smaller guards, very quick. And McCann has a lot of confidence in his outside shot, and if you leave him open, he will let it fly.
In fact, when Edney was an underclassman, they had a big fella playing down low, Willie McGinnis, who now makes his living as a defensive lineman for the New England Patriots. So they've always had some quality athletes.
I thought Willie McGinnis, you know, when he went to SC to play football, he actually could have played basketball. He's probably one of their better players sitting in the stands watching a basketball team play because he's a football player, but he was a great basketball player.
All you got to do is take a look at the Pac-10 standings and figure that one out.
Oh boy, he is a great athlete. You look at some of the kids now that play football and basketball in high school. A lot of them, they just don't develop very much for college because of height-wise. Because players nowadays are getting much stronger and real quick for their height.
I guess the same could be said about Stays Bozeman, who was an all-CIF quarterback at Morningside and is now playing just basketball for the USC team.
Yeah, Stays Bozeman is a very good athlete. You see some of these kids here. He's a good athlete, very quick, but here's a young man that doesn't have the great size like 6'7", 6'8". You know, he has the size he can play a guard and also play a sport. He's not getting real buffed up and not beat up out there in the football field.
In fact, he'll have to change his game a little bit if he wants to go pro because he's going to be awfully small to playing in the forward position. He's going to need to develop his ball handling skills.
Yeah.
As McCann left wide open, hits it.
That's what I'm talking about. McCann is just like Andy, but he was shooting. He's very quick, and he looks for the shot. You know, you have the other guard out there with Michael McDonald, 6'2", 6'3", little point guard. His dad's 6'5", and Dad's a very, very good college player, and that's why I'm surprised. I think Mike's going to grow late.
Three-pointer on the way. Glass misses. Vandervoort handling the ball, which is probably not what Steve Brooks, the head coach of the Griffins, wants to see. Too much dribble. As Vandervoort, he's a big guy. He needs to let the smaller guys handle the basketball.
You know, you're exactly right. Anytime a big guy gets around the basket, they're always taught that when you make the dribble between your legs. Bounce it one time between your legs and no one get it. That time, Jeremy had the ball a little bit too far out, and Michael McDonald came from behind and knocked it loose. But you're right, give it to the guards and let them handle the ball.
Like Aliton, who goes with the left hand and draws the foul. Aliton will make things happen.
You know, that is the toughest player of the guard, is a guard that handles the ball very well off the dribble. And anytime you can do that, and Aliton is a good dribbler, he handles the ball. You can't use the hand check players nowadays. So as long as they keep the dribble going, they're going to back him as far as they want to. So Michael McDonald got caught that time where he couldn't put his hands on him, and Aliton took him all the way down right below the free throw line and got the shot off, but he was bumped at his shooting it.
John hits the second free throw in their opening round victory over Milliken. Los Alamitos was an incredible 31 out of 33 from the charity stripe. And that, of course, led the way to their three-point win over the Rams.
You know, anytime nowadays you see very poor shooting in pro ball, college ball, and high school. You know, it's hard to believe how kids have not developed in shooting. They're great athletes, bigger jumpers and stronger, but in the past used to be great shooters. But now this year, I think if you look at all three leagues, I mean, they don't have great shooters. And so for Los Al to shoot that many free throws and hit that many, you have a chance of winning. Because anytime you hit that many free throws, you're going to win a lot of games.
In fact, it's the point of a joke in a Shaquille O'Neal commercial where they say at the end of a triple overtime, they're going to decide it with free throws, and he gets a smug look on his face.
But that's exactly right. You know, and that's true, though, because he's not the only one that can't shoot. If you look through, there's a ton of kids nowadays, and I ask a lot of players the question about shooting. What do they do? It's that I think players jump too high. They're so worried about doing so many other things to show the people how good athletes they are, instead of just stand there and being a pure shooter.
Vandervoort again puts it down, goes off the glass, but he draws the foul, and he'll shoot two. Long Beach Poly trailing by one, and now fouls becoming a little bit of a concern, as drawing his second personal for the Jackrabbits is Michael McDonald, and we spoke about him being a defensive specialist. Can't play tough D if you've got too many fouls.
You know, he's a very, very bright player. You look at basketball players, there's some guys that are just great athletes that can play the game, and there's some guys that are very, very bright that plays a game that knows all aspects of the game. And Michael McDonald, growing up under his dad that's been a coach here at Long Beach State for a while, Michael is a very, very bright player. He can go out and he knows the game. As overall basketball knowledge, he probably has most knowledge of all the kids out here.
Right now, though, he's got two personals, and those are the only two fouls on the Jackrabbits, and that could become a problem for Coach Ron Palmer and company. Coach Palmer has won his share of CIF titles, and McCann drills a three-pointer, and we're tied at 9. And I was just about to mention, don't think that Coach Palmer isn't looking forward to an opportunity to get back into that title game Meanwhile, the Griffins looking for a first ever appearance in the title tilt. Last time they made it to the semifinals was 1972.
Yeah, you're right. Coach, both teams now, they want to get there. And Steve Brooks really wants to get there. And Coach Palmer's been there. You get used to it. It's almost like you feel like, hey, we're going back again. You forget about the other team that you're in front of. But you're right. You're looking at both teams. Mike Mcdonald with 2 fouls. Coach Palmer leaves in thinking that the young man is smart enough to know that he can't get that 3rd foul here in the first quarter.
Put it this way, since 1972, when Los Alamitos last advanced to the semifinals, the Jackrabbits have captured 5 CIF titles. Nice drive, but McDonald was out of control. Misses badly. Here come the Griffins on transition. Aliton behind the back, dishes out, nobody there. Corey Johnson, nice retrieval, back to Ton for 3, misses. And then McDonald, or no, that was McCann, but I think Aliton's gonna get called for the foul.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Aliton was underneath McCann for the rebound. The shot by Michael McDonald down the other end, he went in for the layup. What happens, you get in there, you have 2 fouls, you're going up for a layup, Willie, as you're driving in. You know players take the charge in high school and college ball. So as you're driving in, he's looking to see where he can go without getting that 3rd foul right away. So he takes his eye off the basket, looking at players, and what he did is he jumped around the defender. He missed the basket, and he didn't get the 3rd foul either.
In fact, it looked a little bit like the Griffin player sidestepped him, and there was nobody there to buffer the player driving in. It's almost as if he was expecting to bump bodies.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know what, anytime you see a player like that has 2 fouls, you know, coaches are always telling, hey, if the kid drives to the basket, somebody has to be there to take a charge. It may be a block, but let's take our chances. But on the other end, Coach Palmer trying to tell McDonald, hey, you don't drive to the basket. I mean, that's the quickest way to get a charge and quickest way to get your 3rd foul. Hey, pull up.
Drive, and they've got a block on glass, and that was very close to being called offensive as McCann driving and a little bit out of control with 7 ticks left on the clock here in the first quarter.
You know, that's exactly what you're talking about there. McCann drives in. It could have gone either way. So that was Michael McDonald. It could have gone the other way. It would have been a 3rd foul in the first quarter, and all of a sudden he's out now for the rest of the half.
Pass in, clock ticking, 5 seconds left. Down low. Turnaround miss, rebound battled for out of bounds, and that's it in the first quarter. And talk about a low-scoring defensive struggle, 9-9 at the end of 1 quarter of play. My name's Willie Padilla, along with me, Ed Ratliff. We're here at the Pyramid for the CIF Southern Section semifinals, Los Alamitos and Long Beach Poly. We'll take a break. Back with second quarter action in just a moment.
Long Beach Signal Hill, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Thank you.
We're staying right here at the Pyramid as we will not take a quarter break. Thanks to executive producer Dan Smith and director Paul DeMore back in the truck. Hope you're enjoying our coverage on Los Alamitos Cable TV. Joining us as well, the folks at CBI in Long Beach. Hope you too are enjoying our coverage, and this is a great local matchup as Poly and Los Alamitos and the 2 communities really back their programs well in Long Beach Poly. What a rich tradition in their high school athletics. You can go back to 21 was their first CIF championship. Wow, 1921.
You know, you're right. Both schools have great tradition in athletics. And in the last 3 or 4 years in Los Alamitos has been football. But here at Long Beach Poly, it's been basketball. But you look behind us and in front of us, Willie, the stands are packed with people from both clubs, and they have great following, and that's why both clubs are here, because the fan support they get during the year is always just like this.
Let's put it this way, that first CIF title was, shall we say, pre-prohibition, pre-stock market breakdown. It was a long, long time ago. Vandervoort down low, got bumped hard. No call as he was bumped hard by number 35 for Long Beach Poly. Matthews got a good hip check in, but no call.
You know, 9-9 is a very low-scoring game. It goes both with defense, and I tell you, neither club is really shooting the ball exceptionally well, and both clubs have missed pretty easy shots. So I think if they clean up the easy shots and hit the layups that they have, you'll see a little bit more scoring in this quarter. But you have Los Al comes out and they put in a zone defense, and that normally slows down a team. But one thing it does on a zone defense, Willie, it really slows the team down and stops them from scoring, but it also opens up an offensive rebounding effort for the other team because you're blocking an area and not people. And that time, Poly stuck away with the rebound.
This is Long Beach Poly's first lead since they broke out to that 2-zip lead behind the basket of Damien Dawson. And then it was 7 points in a row by McCann until Jones hit that little lay-in. Ton, ooh, there's a stutter step. That'll get called in the NCAA.
Oh, they call that very quickly there, don't they? They're in high school. You let him get away with it. Maybe because Ali Ton dropped the ball down a little quicker.
They're going to call a walk there on Vandervoort, and a fortunate break for Leland Matthews because he was in the air and he was off balance. Looked like he made some contact.
You're exactly right. Vandervoort got the ball. Anytime you get the ball down there, you have 3 people around you like he did that time. Jeremy has to throw the ball back out, get it better position, hopefully get 1 player instead of 3 on you and get it right back.
Pauly doing good work, passing it in low. Missed by Jones, battle for Matthews, gets it.
Basket by number 35, Leland Matthews.
How about Leland Matthews? A little workmanlike effort under the boards, and now it's a 4-point lead for the Jackrabbits.
See what happens, we talked about earlier, anytime you play a zone defense, what Los Al's doing, you don't block people, you block an area, so that gives the big guys a freedom to roam around there, and that's exactly what happened.
Laying good by Michael McDonald. And it is a 6-0 run by the Jackrabbits, and Steve Brooks and company won a timeout with 5:41 left in the second quarter. And Pauly coming out smoking here in the second.
You know, we talked about it, a shot from the deep corner. Pauly may release a player. That time the ball was shot, but it was blocked at the blocks down on the left side near the basket. As the ball was shot near the baseline, it was blocked. Michael McDonald released right away, as they do when the ball is shot from the corner. When they picked the ball up, Michael was on the other side half court, got the long pass. So one thing happens, anytime the ball goes to the corner, the guards from Los Al has to learn to turn and come back and get that defensive balance and make sure you stop that long pass.
I think one of the differences we're also seeing here in the second quarter is that the Jackrabbits have stepped it up a notch in crashing the boards. They're really crashing the boards, especially on the offensive end.
Yeah, that comes, like we said earlier, about the zone defense. If you watch a zone, and we'll sit when they go back down here, Los Al plays a zone. You're guarding an area. When you're playing man-to-man, you have that guy, and you guard down 1 man across from him. As soon as the ball is shot in man-to-man, you turn around, you stick the elbow in his chest, you pivot around, and you set a screen out. But in zone, you got an area, so when the ball goes up, someone may not be in your area. They may be 2 guys on the other side overload, so you have 1 player trying to guard 2, and that's how Pauly has gotten 2 offensive rebounds here right away from the zone defense that Los Al set up.
In fact, that put back by Matthews was on just what we spoke about. 5:35 left second quarter. It's a 6-point lead for the Jackrabbits as Ton gets called for traveling in the lane. And a lot of times that won't get called.
You know, that was a good idea by Ali Ton. He got the ball in there, he drove it into the middle of the key. What happened was, Pauly players never came up to help out. Usually a player cut the gap and go down the middle of the gut of the lane. Defensive players come over, they help out, and that leaves the player open. That's why you talk about cutting through the seams. That time, Ali Ton got caught, and nobody helped out, so he traveled because he couldn't find anybody open.
In fact, what you're talking about is when defenses get caught playing over aggressively, and the Jackrabbits showing a lot of patience defensively.
And they do have a lot of patience. So that time, Dawson got a little bit out of control, but normally they have a lot of patience, and that's what Coach Palmer really stresses out there.
Dawson lost the handle. Turnover goes over to the Griffins, who trail by 6. Travis Strange into the lineup for the Griffins.
Timeout.
Updated stats being provided to us by the folks here at Cal State University Long Beach and the Pyramid. Greg Farmer doing all the hard work. Want to thank Greg Farmer for all the work that he's doing.
13 fouls.
And I know where my bread's buttered. If he's providing stats, I got to make sure I pump them up.
They do a good job. When I worked the radio here for Long Beach State basketball, they do the radio, they do the stats for the radio team. Really makes it much easier.
Russ walks, gets called for it.
You know what, the people and the fans behind us, they get upset because they don't see it. But sitting here, as soon as the young man did it, I made the traveling sign right to you. because you can see it, players, they don't keep that pivot foot down, and they don't start with the pivot foot with the ball going down to the floor. They all seem to shuffle because they want to make it very quickly, and they try to get by the player without taking a one dribble.
Alley-oop, lay-in good.
Damien Dawson, assist by Mike Mcdonald.
Hitting the lay-in was Damien Dawson. Credit the assist to Michael McDonald. That was a sweet pass.
See, not only on the zone defense, you can't block out. Zone defense, you don't see behind you. And that's exactly what happened. Dawson got behind the zone defense.
At the 3:50 mark of the second quarter, LaSalle finally gets a bucket here in the second. Dish nicely, lay-in. Oh, it's missed. Missing that one was Josh Newbern, freshly into the lineup, and he'll remember his first shot in this game.
You know, you always tell the big guys, and you ever remember UCLA, John Wooden used the glass. That time he had the ball, if he used the glass, he makes it, but he's trying to do a touch shot around the basket. Well, more players not. They hit the back of the rim or hit the front of it trying to do the touch shot.
All you've got to do is get a tape of Bill Walton going 21 out of 22, I think, against Memphis State in the final, and you'll learn how to use the glass.
But you know, the one that he missed was a dunk shot, and he took it away from him. Awesome player. You're right. They use the glass all the time, and if players learn to do that, you'll see a higher percentage from closer around the basket.
19-11 in favor of the Jackrabbits in a low-scoring first half. Sean Russ hits another high archer. Hit one in the first quarter, got another one now.
See, that's what Russ should have done last one. He got the ball time before that, Willie, and he tried to fake and take the ball to the basket. Actually, he's wide open, and he traveled. He shuffled his feet. That time he got it, took it straight up, and hit a second jump shot from the same area.
You know, we're talking about the traveling and the fans not agreeing with it. They've watched too much NBA basketball.
You know, you're exactly right. NBA, I played there, so I know. So you get the extra step all the time because it's a showman's game.
Nice drive. Aliton dishes off to Brian Corbin. Now, Brian Corbin took a header against Milliken, and I'm talking chin first into the floor as he battled with one of the Ram players, and he was taken off in a stretcher, in a neck brace, and taken off to a local hospital. So it's not only nice to see him back, but also playing, and playing aggressively.
You know, that time Brian Corbin got the shot blocked, but he got fouled pretty hard. You know, in a playground, you don't back down from anybody. In high school ball and college ball, the last thing you want to do is go throw your chest out at somebody, because what happens, the officials look at you. They're trying to calm down, keep fights out of high school and college basketball. You know, you want to start trying to stay calm. You walk up to the guy, hey, tell me, hey, nice hard foul. You know, you may get him back later, but you don't make it obvious so everybody in the stands can see, and the official can see it either. That time, Corbin trying to show him that I'm not intimidated. I know that you knocked me down, but I'm going to get back up again. But they're doing it in a subtle way where the officials aren't going to be looking at you down the other end.
And Pauly will play tooth and nail, very aggressive. They will try and intimidate, and for a lot of folks, they have.
Yeah, they have. You know what? You have tradition like they have. They're very athletic kids. They work hard. You know, they're used to. I grew up in the same kind of area. You talk a lot of smack when you play, because normally you back it up, and that's part of basketball. So you come out here and play against a team like that. LaSalle, they're not going to back down. They're from a tough area also, and those kids are hard workers. They're very tough themselves.
Well, that shot missed badly by Damien Dawson, and the Los Alamitos faithful are going to remind him about it.
So you know what? When you're a shooter, you will shoot air balls in your lifetime. So usually a kid is shooting an air ball, you come down, hey, next time I'm going to take an easier shot or from a different area. But normally that doesn't stick in your head. You come out and the next time you have it, you're going to fire it up. And that time Dawson put his, like he had a ball in his hand, but it's like just fake and just shooting like imitation. Nothing's there. But he's going to shoot it next time he gets it.
That does remind me, this past weekend, Pepperdine University celebrated their alumni weekend in an alumni basketball game. Dane Suttle, the school's all-time leading scorer, who has gained quite a few pounds, can still shoot, hit 9 3-pointers in an alumni game. He may not be able to jump anymore, but he can still shoot it.
I'll tell you what, shooters always can come back and shoot it. Shooters have zero conscience. They just know that give me the ball, I'm going to shoot it. I can't run, but I can sure fill it up, and that's exactly what happens with McCann. McCann's a shooter. He comes out, he's going to fire it up when he gets open. Coach Palmer has to make sure he keeps you intact. You're the point guard. Keep our team going, keep them under control. Jones
goes down, and he had the basketball, and when you leave your feet, Why not? They're going to call traveling. No mistake there.
Coach Palmer is talking to Jones. Like, Jones having a hard time. He has thrown 2 out of bounds. He's traveled. He got the ball at the low post, Willie.
I think Los Alamitos is getting caught in a situation where they're just trying to force feed it inside to Vandervoort, and there's just no passing lanes as Pauly is collapsing and doing a nice job defensively on the big guy.
You know, anytime you want to throw the ball down in post, you have to move it around side to side a couple times. If you come down one pass and try to throw it in, you and I can guard these guys. But if you pass it from side to side 2 or 3 times, you make the defense move a little bit, the big men will be open. You have to be very patient because the first pass, he's going to be guarded.
In the lane, turnaround miss, rebound by Russ. Gets it to Ton. Ton, he could go 1-on-5, instead 1-on-3, drives the lane, gets the shot off, but he's fouled. Ali Ton, impressive, gets the lane with the left hand.
Okay, very good shot by Alex. He came down. You're right, he went coast to coast. As he got the ball near the foul line, he's come in. You can see him slow up a little bit to make sure he can look over the whole system, see what's going on. Got himself under control, and as the Poly player came close to him, he broke it down, got his body between the player and the ball, and as he went up, he kind of threw his body into the player. That's what shooters do. They will take the contact, and as he took the contact, he got fouled and then put the ball off the glass.
Ali Ton is not, shall we say, a vertical player. He is a horizontal player.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That Mengelix, the kid from Irvine, he's similar to that kid there. He's not as big, but Mengelix, the kid from Irvine, is a great passer, left-hander, very, very bright. He knows when to something jump into a player and when to not. And that time, Ali Ton got the ball in the shooting area as the Poly defender came over. He kind of jumped into him, took the little contact, and made the basket.
Drive, dish nicely to Dawson, left hand laying good.
See, that's what I'm talking about Dawson. And Dawson, hey, he shot the air ball. He came right back. He's going to score. It didn't bother him.
Mike Lilly, a la the Muggsy Bogues style play, and those shorts don't make him look any taller.
I said, that was a great pass. He looked like he got out of control, and all of a sudden he found Dawson.
Ton misses with 5 seconds left. Into the hands of Newbern, who lets it fly, misses, and do they have a foul? No, that could have been called right at the buzzer, as it appeared Michael Lilly may have pushed off in the back of one of the Griffin players. No call, but the Jackrabbits enjoy a 4-point lead at the halftime break over the Griffins. And looking back on this first half, the second quarter, the critical part was the first 4 minutes where Los Alamitos was held scoreless and Pauly went on a nice little run.
You're exactly right. Pauly played defense a little bit tighter, but on the other end, Los Al played that zone defense and let him roam free. And Pauly got a couple offensive rebounds, put the ball back in, and that's why they went ahead. But Los Al came back to close the gap up a little bit.
Well, defense is the name of the game as we have a 21-17 halftime score. The Jackrabbits leading it over the Griffins. My name's Willie Padilla. Along with me, Ed Ratliff. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. We'll take a halftime break. We'll be back with more coverage of this CIF Southern Section semifinal matchup between the Griffins and Jackrabbits as we continue our coverage in just a moment. Hi everybody, welcome back to our coverage of the CIF Southern Section semifinal playoff basketball game between the Los Alamitos Griffins and the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. The Griffins start off with the basketball first here in the second half. Vandervoort misses the shot, but Sean Russ battles for the rebound. Vandervoort, and now it's the Griffins who are battling and crashing the boards, but then after a couple ill-fated shots, I believe it's Corey Johnson that draws the foul.
You know, that time they came out this half here. Coach Brooks made an adjustment. They tried to get it down to the big guy. What they did this time, they cleared the whole side out and left the guard and Vandervoort down by himself. And it was 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, and they had a lane open to the big guy inside. He just missed a turnaround jump shot.
21-17 the halftime score, and Ed, 21 points. That was a good night for you, not necessarily the team, but as an individual.
I know, when I played high school, man, 21 points, and we got that right away in the first quarter as my team. This is like whole first half. This is things have changed since I played.
McDonald drains a 3.
That's what I talk about McDonald. He hasn't been scoring a lot of points for him because he's playing defense. I watched the kid grow up, you know, being his dad and I played together here at Long Beach. Michael McDonald is a very good shooter and great athlete.
Corey Johnson, that's a 2-pointer. It's a 5-point difference, 24-19. Looked like a walk, no call. McDonald misses short. Ali Ton leading the break, look out. Dishes nicely to Glass. Ton, who just seems to be everywhere. Nice pass down low to Russ, off the glass, good.
Great look, wasn't it? Russ was open, Ali Ton had the ball, and right away he sent it down to him at the basket. Anytime Ali Ton has the ball, if you're guarding your man, you can't turn your head. That time the defender turned his head. Russ did the right thing like you're supposed to do in offense. Go to the basket. He went there and Ali Ton hit him.
And how about Vandervoort? The play he didn't make. He could have intercepted that pass, but in a clairvoyant sort of move, he let it go and it went right to Russ for the lay-in. Jackrabbits get it back. McDonald driving, goes to the left hand, drives, blocked by Vandervoort. A phantom foul, and they've got it on Russ. I think Cassius Clay hit Sonny Liston with more than that.
You know, I think you're right. That would look like a phantom. Look like a pretty good block from here where we're sitting on the angle. But you have McDonald trying to go coast to coast after they got the loose ball. But when he went in, you try to tell your guys, and the guys coming down that fast, talking about McDonald, instead of trying to block a shot, they're normally out of control. Take the charge. Make the player adjust to you instead you try to adjust to the player.
All in all, Jim Murphy and Ernest Kelly, our officials, have done a great job in terms of not only handling the game, but keeping the two teams in check and in control.
I think you're exactly right. That's what we talked about earlier about kids getting knocked down and sticking your chest out of the other player. That's what you don't want. The officials, both of them, have done a great job of keeping it under control and of keeping the tempo going pretty good to where you don't have players holding and pushing very much.
Indeed, this game is moving. Vandervoort trying to dribble and then gets it swatted, but he does draw the foul. Big fella for Paulie Pike Jones threw that back in Vandervoort's face.
Actually, probably could have called the foul on the dribble because he got bumped, but on the block, looked like it's a pretty good block, but you're always taught as a shot blocker, really, you let the guy go up and release the ball first. As he releases it, then you go up and get it. But if you go up like that, you come down while the ball's in his hand, more than likely, they always call the wrist because you're not directly away from the guy with only your hand on the ball. The body's normally close to it, and they will call it.
There are some shot blockers who do it from a couple feet away, such as the O'Bannons over at UCLA. And then there's that particular play where just a little too much body.
You're exactly right. He didn't release the ball, and that time Jones came down on the ball. It looked like it was clean, but as an official, you're too close to it, and the ball never left, so you will call the wrist and the elbow.
McDonald rolls the ball. It's in the lane, and a foul is called? No, timeout. Timeout called by Long Beach Poly. I'm not sure anyone had possession, but they'll give it to the Jackrabbits. And that was an interesting call. Now, I'm not specific on the rule, but if you've got possession and you can call a timeout, you can also get 3 seconds called on you.
Yes, he was in the key there, 3 seconds. That's what I would have called also. And as he was trying to pass the ball, it looked like he threw the ball, but maybe someone else from over in the sideline called the timeout right away as Michael had it. Maybe the official just blew the whistle a little bit later.
Indeed, it appeared McDonald was trying to decide one of 3 options in the lane, then he rolled it, then he fell on it, and then called timeout.
Yeah, he kick it, put a handle on it, and pick it up.
The score 26-21 in favor of the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits, looking for another visit to the CIF Southern Section Championship Final. The winner of this game will face the winner of the St. John Bosco Fontana matchup being played at Cypress College. And the championship will be played over in Orange County at the Pond in Anaheim. And as if the Pyramid is not beautiful enough to play a high school basketball game in, how about a treat to play in the Pond for the championship final?
I think the Pond is absolutely gorgeous. First time going to the Pond watching a hockey game, you go and you buy a hot dog and the thing you don't want to do is throw the wrapper on the floor. It's cleaner than most houses around here.
The house that Mickey built.
That's exactly right.
Jones loses the handle. Vandervoort with a nice block. Ali Ton gets stripped from behind by Jones. And then Jones draws the foul. He's not going to like that call. He was looking for a little showtime down on the other end.
Yeah, that right there was a late call.
Mike Jones, his third personal.
Well, they let Jones get away with it when Ton was driving towards the basket, but once he tried to pull it back out, then they called the foul. They could have called it in either direction.
You're exactly right. They could have called it near the basket, but when he got away with it, he got him coming back again.
Low-scoring affair, 26-21, leading scorer for Los Alamitos. A surprise, Sean Russ with 8 points. 2 7-point scores for the Jackrabbits as Vandervoort inside. Aliton took 4.9 of his 5 seconds to get that ball in bounds.
They just barely got it in, but Jeremy was wide open and laid it in.
Larry McCann and Mike Mcdonald each with 7, but McCann's 7 points came after the Jackrabbits scored the first bucket of the game. McCann scored 7 in a row, hasn't been heard from since as Dawson hits a 3.
Yeah, McCann had 7 points at halftime.
29-23, 6-point lead for the Rabbits. And that's a walk. They'll call that one on Travis Strain. You know, one thing that most observers don't notice is that at the collegiate level, the floor is actually 6 feet longer than it is at a high school gymnasium where it's an 85-foot floor. And here it's a 91-foot floor approximately. And I'm going with numbers that I'm speaking relative of, but that extra 6 feet, that could be a problem for a team that likes to play, let's say, a zone defense. That just gives you a little more room on the outside of that arc.
It sure does. It really widens it out a little bit.
Of course, that can also work to a team's advantage if they have superior quickness, such as the Jackrabbits, as Sean Russ made a move to the lane, forgot one thing, the ball.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you're quicker, you can really pressure and you can get the ball up and down the floor. That time, you're right. You try to take it between the gaps. You have to make sure it's open a little bit, spread it out some. And that's what Poly's doing on offense. They're spreading out a little bit against the zone. They're moving the ball around.
Traveling called as getting tied up was Leland Matthews, and that was all Aliton. That's not a block. He nearly stripped it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But when the player gets in there, you're double team, Willie. And I know Coach Palmer's not happy about it. When you double team, throw the ball back out. Let's see if we get a different angle, a different pass in there, a different shot, maybe a little easier shot.
Left-hander, Strange misses that one. I don't know if he'll take that shot too many more times. He was straight away, but nice dish. Laying good by Dawson. That was a sweet pass.
Hey, was that Tyus ending the second? McCann, he made a pass from half court, a bounce pass that never got higher than his knees, and he's only about 5'11".
I think several Griffins are still looking for that pass.
I think Dawson went behind the defense. He got it. Great play by Dawson by catching it first and then a reverse layup.
The score at halftime was 21-17 in favor of Long Beach Poly, but now it has been stretched to a 10-point difference in favor of the Jackrabbits, 33-23. So a 12-6 scoring advantage for Long Beach Poly here in the third.
You know, at halftime, the turnovers, Los Al had 12 turnovers, and Poly just had 5. You know, and that right there was the difference you talked about in the first half where Poly got ahead. But as you go down the list, you talk about the leading scorer at one time was Larry McCann for Poly at 7.5. But all of a sudden, Dawson has come up now. He has scored a couple quick baskets. And that last one was a good indication how fast that young man Dawson get him down the floor. And he got behind Los Al defense, caught it. Very, very good bounce pass from McCann. But you talk about an athlete as Dawson is, he catches it and did a great reverse layup.
One stat that really stands out is that shooting percentage, which for both teams was just under 50%. Actually, Poly was pretty abysmal at 42% as the Griffins score here. But look at the second half. 67% for Long Beach Poly. Meanwhile, the Griffins just 37%.
You know, that you're exactly right. The shooting percentage for Poly came up, but most of that is where Poly's getting some layups. And anytime you get layups, it brings the shooting percentage up. And all
Dawson, the lay-in good.
What do we call earlier in the game? We talk about a kid shooting from the corner. The kid shot the ball from the corner, told Los Al, shot the corner, air ball. That time, Dawson released. It wasn't McDonald. Dawson released, and they got to ease it up on the other end.
Ton tips it in and out of the hands of Glass, ends up in McDonald's hands. Dawson dishes nicely to Matthews, who gets it blocked by Johnson, but he also commits the foul.
That was a great pass by Dawson. McCann very low through the defender on a bounce pass. But what made that play as the ball is bouncing around at the other end there, Willie, LaSalle had three guys go for a loose ball. They left numbers on the other end when Polly got the loose ball. Talking about McDonald got it out to Dawson in a hurry. Once the ball is shot or turned over, the guy that was on the ball puts a little pressure. The other guys get back. Poly is a very quick team, and they will get numbers on you. I'm talking about LaSalle. On the other end, when LaSalle gets the ball, Poly feels like they're a little quicker, and so they will pressure a little before going back.
This is the largest lead of the game for the Jackrabbits, 11.
And Sean Russ.
Once again, want to thank Greg Farmer providing the statistics to us here. What a beautiful job he's doing.
Okay, great stats makes it easier for us to get the information out.
Three-pointer on the way by Johnson, drained it.
Hey, that's the second jump shot Johnson hits from the left side. He gets off the floor pretty good there when he goes up. Kind of kicks out one leg. I remember guys when I was in high school did that. But great shot from deep to hit the three-pointer.
Finally, the Griffins bring their outside game indoors. That's where they've had problems. They really haven't done well from three-point range. Turnaround, nice bounce. McDonald hits.
That Michael McDonald is a good shooter, good form. Like I said, he's one of those guys that play defense. He doesn't look for a shot very much, and maybe he should. But anytime you had a guy like Dawson and McCann, both are shooters, somebody has to get the ball around to the other players.
In fact, moments ago when Johnson hit that three-pointer, that was the first tray of the game for the Griffins. Wouldn't expect that, but in a low-scoring affair, I guess that's what you'd have to figure. 38-28, 10-point lead for the Jackrabbits.
LaSalle has been trying to get the ball down to the big kid, Jeremy. Anytime you try to get the ball down to your center, you don't take a lot of shots from the outside. They took three three-point attempts in the first half, talking about Los Alamitas, and this time they come out of the second half. You're down by 11, and they were at one time. They feel like they need a couple threes to get back in the game. A lot of times the players take that on themselves instead of the coaches. Coaches still like to see you take the two-point shots and get the points instead of firing up. If you fire up three-pointers, that could get you back in the game and also can shoot you out of the game.
Just ask Paul Westhead over at Loyola Marymount. Yeah, they had some high-scoring affairs, but not very often do they come out on the winning edge against good quality teams. Turnover by the Jackrabbits. Griffins have it, trailing by 8 with 1:03 left in the third, and now the Griffins have an opportunity to get back in this one. Jackrabbits caught napping momentarily, but Damien Dawson strips Vandervoort. But then Ton takes it right back. Vandervoort running the floor. Oh, that was ugly. Got caught off the wrong step, could not hit.
Yeah, the last thing you can do is give it to your center going down for a fast break. At that time, center got the ball. He has no business on a break like that, but he should have caught it, come to a jump stop, and then power it up, or just go to your lamp line like you used to do on every day. Everybody goes to the lamp line, but that time I think he's running a little bit too fast.
I mean, we're talking a player 6'7", and in a lot of places, they go up and power it. But Vandervoort maybe finessing it just a tad bit, missed the lay-in, and now the Jackrabbits playing for the final shot of the third quarter as the clock shows 10 seconds left. Lilly loses the handle. Lilly rolling, and he travels.
Coach Palmer cannot be happy right now because he really works hard on handling the ball and taking good control of the ball. That time they're out playing, the guard has it, and who was out there next to him handling the ball? It was Jones, their big center out there. He should be underneath the basket, get out of there, bring another guard up. Let's run the offense with the two guards handling the ball, run the clock out, and then take the last shot. Jones is out there handling the ball, and then he makes a bad pass because he lost a handle of it.
I have to agree with you because I'm looking at Palmer, and he's not happy. As Ali Tan makes like Houdini and hits the running lay-in. Wow, that was virtually magical as the Griffins crawl to within 6, 38-32, and in a low-scoring affair, that's the kind of basket that might ignite a team.
You're exactly right. Ali Tan takes the ball with 6 seconds. He takes the ball to the hoop. Why take the outside shot? He goes right to the basket. The things that happen, I remember Jerry West when he was playing at Lakers, there's no comparison to the two players, but anytime he's running the clock down, a guard takes it, you're either going to get fouled or you're going to make the shot. You don't just go fire up a 25-footer, and that time Ollie Town took the ball to the basket, and Ollie, they just cleared the way for him.
Just about any player would love to be in the same sense as Jerry West, and that of course, a great accolade anytime even in the smallest breath can be brought into the same sentence.
But see, that's what you want, though, as a coach. And I'm sure as a coach, you want your point guard, when you get the ball with 6 seconds, I don't want you to come down with the ball, pass it out to the center outside, he's going to fire it up. You have to know who's going to take the last shot, who the shooter is, who you're going to give it to. And that time, Ollie Town kept the ball himself, and he finished the play. But if you don't have the finish of the play, and there's help out by the big guy, that's when you hit the center and lead for a little kick out when the defensive player helps out.
This play is getting loud. And the shape of this place, the pyramid, and it really does echo. The crowd comes alive. This is a great place for basketball.
The acoustic here is awesome.
Drive, lay and miss, battle for Vandervoort. Jones, you wanted that basketball badly.
Yeah, see, Vandervoort, when you go up and get the ball, you're right, Willie. You have to be a little stronger. You know, he's got to lift weights as he goes further up. So as soon as you grab the ball, your elbows comes out. I don't mean to throw them. You bring the ball to your chest, your elbows come out, and that clears the people out of you. And then you pivot to get away from them. Big guys have to do that. If you have the ball and you grab it and you keep it around your chest with the elbows down, everybody comes and grabs it. That's exactly what happened that time with Jones coming in, grabbing it from Vandervoort.
He's got the height. Now he's just got to work on the muscle and out-muscling big guys. High arc miss as Johnson misses. That was in the range of a three-pointer. May have been on the arc.
You know, you'll see Poly now at their best, what they normally do. They may not have the right team for it, but normally at a time like this, Poly's going to run the clock down. They're going to get exactly what shot they want. But what happens, sometimes you don't have the personnel like you used to have in the past, so it doesn't run and work out the same way.
McDonald using the glass. It's interesting, I find that high school basketball for boys as Vandervoort hits the little lay-in, but the boys division does not have a clock yet. In girls basketball, they do have a shot clock.
They do. Yeah, I like to see the shot clock. But you're talking about that time, Vandervoort got behind the defense. Ollie Town, as you talk about the point guard, is a great league, has great eyes right away from on the other side of half court. He gives it to Vandervoort for the layup.
Jones gets it inside, turnaround, missed. Save attempt, that was McDonald flying out of bounds. Fort could not save it. Shot was missed by Josh Newbern. He is still over in the game.
I'm sure that's not what Coach Palmer wanted. You get the ball down low, you don't have a good shot. You're up 40-34. Hey, let's bring the ball back out. Let's get the shot we want without a contestant of hands. And at that time, the ball was thrown up, knocked out of bounds, and you can't do that. You have to take care of the ball with no shot clock. Well, you can run the clock down to get what you want.
Correction on Newbern, he does have 1-3 in the game as Johnson dribbles it off his foot. Costly mistake as we're in the fourth quarter, and a 6-point difference could have been whittled down to much less than that.
Yeah, you play 6 minutes to go and you have to score 40-34. Each possession, as teams can hold the ball in boys basketball where there's no clock, you have to take care of it. In girls basketball, there's a clock. You know you're going to get it back after so many seconds. Here, Poly can run the clock down, get what they want. That time, exactly what happened. Dawson gets the shot at the free throw line. If you don't get it, you move the ball around until you run more time off.
And Dawson, wide open, had to take that one, and he hit it. Ton, I don't believe he's been out in this game. Lay-in, missed, but Ton gets it back. Throws a bad pass, and he doesn't do that very often.
No, Ton is not. He got off balance that time when he got the rebound and had no pass. But you're right, he doesn't come out. He plays the whole time, and he still plays hard as he continues through.
In fact, Ton guilty of doing what a lot of quarterbacks do, and that was throwing off his back foot, backing up. No mustard on the pass.
You know, you're exactly right. He had his foot backwards. He was falling back, trying to get rid of it before he traveled. And as he threw it, he threw the bounce pass, and Jones stepped in front of the offensive player and picked it up very easily.
Dawson, you can tell he's feeling it. When they're comfortable in their shots, they want the ball. Oh, Jones rejected by Vandervoort.
That's the second time Jones picks up another jump hook. Vandervoort just sticks his hand straight up, and Jones is kind of lazy in his hand. That's the second time the ball was blocked in the same shot from Jones. But see, Coach Palmer cannot be happy there. You're running the clock down, and you have Jones takes a shot like that. And earlier you just had Dawson shoot a 50-foot wide open jump shot, so why would you force up a shot?
Down low, and Dawson throws it off the bottom of the goal. Ton, leading the break, takes two of the longest strides, but could not get it to go as Jones gets the rebound. That may have been an opportunity where Ton tried to do too much, and then that foul called offensive against the Jackrabbits.
You know, you're exactly right. Ali Ton tried to do too much and then come down the other end. You have McCann come down, and he was 1 against 3, Willie. And I tell you, when you're a coach, you said it, we talked about it earlier, you're up 42-34. That's not the shot you need. You may bring the ball back out, and we can get a better shot than that. And I'm sure Coach Palmer, knowing his style of play, is over there dying watching the players make mistakes in the fourth quarter of a game that you're up.
Down low, intended for Vandervoort, but it's stolen away by McCann. McCann bobbing and weaving through the defense, gets it out to McDonald, who smartly pulls it out.
I said, he's a very bright player. That's exactly what you want. You don't have the numbers, you bring it out. Let's run the clock down a little bit.
Palmer doing a little refereeing over on the sideline, looking for a hold.
He's exactly right. He's out of the official. He's grabbing him with his hand, he's holding him.
Offensive. Didn't see the player setting up to draw the charge as he was moving in on his own guy, and didn't see the defensive player setting up.
You're exactly right. We talked about it. Like, anytime a player has the ball going for the basket, a good defensive team, as both clubs are, they get over and take the charge. That time Jones had nowhere to go, and he turns around and turns the corner, and as he turned the corner, the charge was taken. But you have big guys going from the wings like that. You don't want that. Get the ball out to the guard. Let's start the offense again.
3:58 left in the fourth quarter. It's an 8-point lead for the Jackrabbits, 42-34. And Paul Demore, our director, back in the van. We've got Dan Smith, our executive producer, along with us. Paul, I don't know if we're going to get an opportunity to scan this beautiful facility here on the campus of Cal State University Long Beach, but the pyramid is really a work of art, and considering the financial problems that this university has had throughout the years, for them to be able to build a facility like this, and I'm talking first class, is really not only a testament to a lot of hard work by a lot of people, but it's going to draw some crowds, and it's going to draw some quality athletes.
You know what, Willie, you're right on the numbers. This here holds about 5,000 now, and it's going to go up to 8,000. For the Long Beach State game, the sellout crowds they've had in here, the acoustics is great for noise, and it was so loud in here, great for fans. Every seat here is a good seat. They're going to have a chance to raise it up to 8,000 as they get going, and this is an awesome facility.
And I'm sure Brian Cibolero, the women's volleyball coach, is excited by that high ceiling. Won't have any more of those hit the ceiling volleyball plays as McDonald to Jones. Oh, Jones gets swatted by Vandervoort, and then McDonald gets swatted away by Craig Morgan. Ouch.
That was a great defense by both kids, and both of them had layups. You know, McDonald thought he was wide open, and out of nowhere, you look up there, and then Craig Morgan comes up and just spikes it like a volleyball.
I don't know who's more stunned, the Pauley crowd or the Los Alamitos crowd.
You know, you look at the crowd, Pauley's up 42-34, and they're very quiet on their side. Los Al is down, and Pauley has the ball, and Los Al's making the noise up there. You know, sometimes you get to where you have a school that wins so much, and the crowd expects them to win. And so they're kind of quiet through there, and they expect the game's going to go and they're going to win it. And that's what happens here. All these people, they're just kind of waiting around for the game to be over with.
Interestingly enough, that was the situation during the football campaign where Los Alamitos, blowing people out, had to settle for a 7-0 victory over the Jackrabbits. And let me tell you, Pauley was oh so close to pulling it out in the final minute.
See, that time Leland Matthews snuck behind the defense with the ball out of bounds and hit a pretty good layup. He had some pressure in there and snuck the ball over the rim for 2 points for Pauley High School.
Meanwhile, on this run down the floor, Travis Strange gets called for a little push in the back, and that was an easy call for the official to make with 2:50 left in the ball game. And stats updated again. I'm going to have to take Greg Farmer with me wherever I go. As Dawson thought he had someone wide open. Morgan was left side. Johnson loses the handle. And the Griffins cannot catch a break, and they're starting to run out of time, trailing by 10 with 2.5 left.
You see, Poly, they don't need any shots right now. You know, if you're the ball and you're Poly, you don't need any shots. You make them foul you. You hold the ball, you run the clock down. On the other end, if you're Los Al, you pressure and try to get the ball. You need the ball back on your side. If not, you're going to foul. You're down by 10 points with 2 minutes to go. You need to get the ball back. You don't want to run too much time off the clock.
Indeed, I would be surprised to see the Jackrabbits score many more points from the floor. I think it's going to be mostly from the charity stripe the rest of the way.
You know, you said it right, because that's how it's going to be. If Los Alamitos doesn't foul them and they let them run the clock down, that's a big mistake. They just can't let them hold the ball. You're up by 10. You don't need a shot.
Foul called prior to the pass, and what a sweet pass it was. It would have been an easy lay-in for the Jackrabbits as Dawson had the easy score. 2:05 left. Griffins are running out of time.
This is how you get layups. You're up by 10, you spread the offense out there, Willie. Everybody's out, and then as they try to pressure and try to steal the ball and they double team, that's when you have guys go back door. You have players cut to the basket, and they're going to be wide open. But you don't need any jump shots. You run the ball back and forth. You make them overplay and play defense.
Ton gets called for the foul, and he basically was giving that to the Jackrabbits. He wanted the clock to stop, and he wants to see someone at the free throw line.
Yeah, you're right. He had to foul the player, and he fouled him right away. And if people are wondering how come the official didn't call a little bit sooner, but all the time you're a minute 55, you're down by 10. You have to put them on the line, hope they miss, but you have to pick the right people, and that's the thing. You have to make sure that the non-shooters get the ball before you foul them. But sometimes you don't have a choice. Clock's running, and they keep the ball in the shooter's hands. You're going to foul a shooter.
This can win it or lose it in the game of basketball. If you're a good free throw shooting team, you can ice victories. If you're a poor free throw shooting team, you can be in a whole lot of trouble. As Ton, driving, needs to make something happen. Passes to Russ, loses the handle. Ton is there, naturally. Ton driving, gets stripped. Loose ball, Vandervoort has it. Make like a garden, hit the lay-in.
Pretty good move by Vandervoort. He had time to take the ball, he had it on the baseline, took a dribble toward the middle of the key, took it up, nice little bank shot off the glass, and that's what you like to see out of the big guys from Los Alamitos.
McDonald to McCann, this is just what the Jackrabbits want to do. Pass it around, watch the clock tick. I don't know if Matthews and Jones really wanted to take this shot, but smartly enough, they save it. Look at Ron Palmer. He's just got both hands up, just telling his fellas, hey, let's just pass it around and work that clock.
Tell you what, it's much easier sitting right here looking through the TV screen and talking and calling the game than it is sitting on the bench as a coach. Because as a coach, you have zero control. You want the players to run the clock down, spread it out. And you're right, that time Matthews went to the back door and got the ball from the guard, but you don't need a shot. You need to just take the ball back out and start the offense again.
Of course, Coach Palmer has his assistants doing most of the yelling. Coach Palmer does a lot of posturing.
Yes, he does.
He can send a message with just a look.
He sure does. And the players look at it. They know exactly what he's talking about. As the other end, Steve Brooks does a good job. He's a very good coach on the other end there with the Los Alamitos. He's been around for a long time. And year in and year out, Los Alamitos always has a good team. And both teams are very well coached.
In fact, Coach Palmer has often been described as being a father figure. And that's the kind of look he gives, that parental look from across the room that you know what they mean. Ton gets the lay-in, and he's fouled.
You know, that's what you do. You foul them on one end, hope they miss a layup, you come down, hope they miss a free throw line, you come down and either try to hit a three-pointer or take it to the basket. Ton took it to the basket and got fouled. He has a chance for a three-pointer. But you're right, you look at Coach Palmer over there, he's given a lot of messages and hasn't said one word yet.
Ton hits the free throw. It's a 7-point game, 1:10 left. McCann has a man down low. Jones smartly pulls it out. Jackrabbits, they're going to play catch.
That's what you have to do.
Smart foul by Vandervoort. That'll send Matthews to the line.
You know, you look at it, and that's what you want. You want to move the ball around. But the thing is, as the ball is moving around, as a coach, you go, okay, who's my non-shooter on the free throw line? Keep it out of his hands. Get it to the guards. Go back and forth.
Leland Matthews at the line shooting.
Indeed. Not only are the teams in sync at this point, but the officials know that the Griffins need to foul. They don't want it to get too out of hand, so they're immediately calling any sort of contact. They don't want to make the Griffins commit some sort of a grievous sort of foul.
You know, you're right. That's what the officials are there, and they're doing a good job at it because players that have to foul, they will foul a little harder trying to get the attention of the official. So the official has to be aware of it and get it done right away.
Long range one by Ton, and he calls time immediately. How about that? That'll draw the Griffins to within 6. Well, they say this about the Phoenix, that it will rise again, not necessarily the Griffins, but both being mythical figures, anything can happen.
Yeah, you're 50 seconds, 48, 42. It seems like the game's over with. Quick foul, foul shots missed, three-pointer. Hey, you're back in the game, and that's exactly what Los Alamitos is trying to do.
Los Alamitos trails by 6, 48-42. Jackrabbits have played textbook basketball since Palmer returned to Long Beach Poly after his brief stay here at Long Beach State. I'm sure he would have loved to have a place like this to coach in. He's returned the Jackrabbits to their place where they once were when he coached there prior to this Long Beach State stint. They were on top then, and they're on top again. You know, Coach Palmer is a great high school coach. I think when he went to Long Beach, you know what, you go there with different ideas. I think if he had to go back there again now, he would understand what's going on. I think what happened, he had his eyes open up a little bit because it's different what you think. If he would go back to Long Beach State now from Poly, he knows what to expect, he knows what to do, and he'll do a much better job because he understands the situation. Jackrabbits, Dawson gets it in, and a foul called quickly. A heartbeat ticks off the clock, now 49.7 seconds left. And as I mentioned, the Rabbits are going to have to win this one at the free throw line. Griffin's going to need some more threes like the one Ton hit. You know, that's what you said earlier when you talked about Los Alamitos last game hitting all those free throws. Poly now's on the other end. If they miss their free throws and Los Alamitos can hit a quick three-pointer, you'll see a change of this game very quickly within 49 seconds. Matthews, the proverbial ice water in his veins, hits the free throw. Matthews is just a sophomore. Gotta like it when the youngster can step up there and drain the free throw. Yeah, you're exactly right, and you usually call the seniors to do it, but as the ball's coming in bounds, Matthews is the one that's going to get the ball. He was running toward it so he can get it and get fouled. Ton, a running, leaning, artistic sort of three-pointer, and he hits it. That was amazing, virtually. You know, that's what you talked about. Ollie Ton coming and hitting a three-pointer like they're supposed to. He's doing the thing he's supposed to do, but what's happening in the game, Poly is making the free throws. When you're in a game where you're fouling, Poly's supposed to miss the free throws. He comes hit the three-pointer. That's what it's set up. But as you're talking about earlier, you have the young kid Matthews comes down, hits both free throws, and that keeps the game out of reach as the clock runs down. If you just can't miss it, as long as Poly hit the free throws, doesn't matter if the clock running down, you try to have Los Al hit those three-pointers. Looking at the scoreboard, Los Al is now out of timeouts. They trail by 5. They cannot afford to get into a 3-point per 2-point exchange because they'll run out of time long before they catch up. The winner at this game goes to the finals. And the finals are at the Pond, and that's when now? Saturday night, 6:45, as a prelude, so to speak, even though this is considered the major division, to the modern day canonization, so to speak. That's true. I don't think there's anyone in this realm who anticipates anyone knocking off the Monarchs. No, they're awfully strong, and they have such a great player in Shea Cotton that they're going to be they're up for the games. I think that would be a great name though for a restaurant, Shea Cotton. It does. It's a good one. The way that young man plays, if he keeps going and keep improving like this, he'd probably have a restaurant. Several, a chain. Oh boy, he can play. But you're right, Los Al, what they're doing here tonight, they're
They may have started a little bit too late, but they're fouling. And remember, North Carolina State years ago won the NCAA championship by fouling. They fouled the teams when they were down. The teams missed their free throws. They came back, hit shots, and they went all the way and won the final of the NCAA basketball tournament by fouling teams. And the next year, the NCAA came out with 10 fouls, makes it 2 shots instead of 1-on-1 situation.
In fact, in the first round at New Mexico, or actually the championship was played in New Mexico when they defeated Houston, but in the first round, North Carolina State defeated Pepperdine, which had a 6-point lead with 1 minute left in the first overtime, and twice they missed the front end of 1-1. Dane Suttle, the school's all-time leading scorer, and Grant Gondazak turned the ball over.
And you talk about a smart player. That time McCann goes on the floor to get the ball, and while he's down there, he looks at the official and calls timeout. That's what you call a heady player.
He was not laying down on the job.
Oh no, he was down there. But you know what? He's your point guard, and that's what your point guard is supposed to do. You ought to be aware of the situation, be aware of the clock, know what's going on with everybody on the floor. And that time McCann got the ball and he called timeout right away. So there wouldn't be a jump ball, so the change of possession, and also wouldn't be a travel.
52-45. I don't know if the Jackrabbits have scored from the floor in the last 2 minutes, and they have taken care of business at the free throw line just the way, if you're Coach Palmer, that you draw it up.
You know, you're right. I tell you, they have, Poly High School they have gone to the free throw line, knocked down the free throws they needed when they got fouled, and when you do that, it puts pressure on the other side. A low foul, they're hurrying, trying to get the ball on the other end, take 3-pointers, because Poly High School, they're knocking the free throws down.
The last time Los Alamitos played in a semifinal, you were voting for Richard Nixon versus George McGovern. You were voting, I wasn't voting.
You're right, I probably was voting. That's how old as I am. I think I roomed with Dr. James Nation. He was my roommate in college.
When he was developing that game.
Oh, yeah, the beach baskets. I played on those.
Let's see if McCann can help salt this one away. He's going to enjoy his time at the line.
Yeah, and that's what the players are doing. They have stepped up to the line, and those are big free throws. It doesn't seem like it with the clock running down, but you have to hit them to keep your team up. And each player from Poly High School stepped up, and they have knocked down the free throws.
Principal H.J. Green in attendance, holding both fists over his head as those 2 free throws are hit. It's a 9-point difference. Ton, nice rebound, but the shot is missed. And McDonald gets the rebound, he gets fouled. You can start celebrating if you're a Long Beach Poly fan, because this game's virtually history.
Yeah, Long Beach Poly right now with 27 seconds, and you're up. They know they're going to the finals. They're back where they normally are every year. They love they think that's where they should be. That's part of their schedule. The finals of the CIF. That's just a schedule they put on their schedule that we're going to be there.
The Moore League, and we haven't brought this up, has been a dominant league in 1AA when you consider the championships won by not only Long Beach Poly, but consider Milliken, consider Lakewood, which won in '82. And you've also got to consider Jordan, which has won a couple over the last few years.
I was going to bring that up. Even though Poly thinks they belong there, they're for a couple years now. Jordan, they put it on their schedule. They're going to be in the finals, and they did that there for a couple years. They really played well. And I think Massey does a great job at Jordan High School.
Indeed he does. And how about the job that Coach Massey did this year after losing the first 3 in a row in Moore League play? They got on a hot streak, and they had some people shaking in their tennis shoes.
Yeah, he does. I remember when he first started, he used to change offense and defenses up all the time, talking about Coach Massey, but he settled down. He really understands the game right now, and he directs his kids out to. That's where my nephew played at Jordan, and he really liked Coach Massey. He thought he taught him a lot in basketball.
Indeed, your nephew Everett Ratliff, who prepped at Jordan High School and now makes his basketball time here at Long Beach State, plays right here at the Pyramid.
Damien Dawson shooting 1 and 1.
Talk about stellar footsteps he's trying to follow. Of course, Ed's career, my partner, storied here at Long Beach State. That's when I first started to learn about basketball and the great tradition here at Long Beach State. And of course, your appearance on the Olympic team back in the early 70s. I believe you were on the Munich team.
I was in 72, that's right, yeah.
And your silver medal's still waiting.
Yeah, it's still over there somewhere in Munich, Germany. You know, you're talking about my nephew playing here, and I was telling somebody that he's better than I was as a player. And then whoever I was talking to says, oh, he must play defense. So that's like a coach shot, and I said, come on now. I play a little bit of defense, not much, though.
There's no D in Ratliff.
Oh, no, I tell you what, I like to shoot the ball, and I took my share of shots.
Clock shows 20 seconds left. Jones gets the shot off the glass. Pauley fans starting to celebrate. Down to 10 seconds. Ton for three. Got it.
That young man's a very good player, isn't he? Ali Ton. Oh, two-hand Mike shot from half court. Let's go.
That'll do it. Final from the Pyramid. The Jackrabbits defeat the Los Alamitos Griffins by 10, 58-48. Quickly, Ed, your thoughts on this matchup? Obviously, the Jackrabbits played the textbook game in the fourth quarter. They hit their free throws when they had to, and they just played, as I said, textbook.
You know, they played pretty good defense. Talking about the Jackrabbits, they kept Los Alamitos down, kept them off balance. But on the other end, they hit the shots they needed, but when they came down the last 2 minutes, when Los Alamitos tried to get back in the game, they fouled Poly High School, and Poly made your free throws like you're supposed to down the stretch.
Indeed. Now Ed's going to try and get a word with Coach Ron Palmer, the head man at Long Beach Poly, who will be celebrating a return to the CIF Southern Section Finals as he led the team in 1994 to its most recent championship. That was just last season. And they have captured titles most recently in 94, 90, and 84. Nice little run there over the last 10, 11 years, as they've got 3 out of the last 10, and they're going for 4 out of 11. Indeed, a great tradition here at Long Beach Poly High School. Final score once again, 58-48. In a sense, this avenges that high school football quarterfinal win by Los Alamitos, which Poly played a great game in, but came up short, and now it's Los Alamitos' turn to play a great game and come up short against a superior opponent. And the Jackrabbits will face the winner of the Fontana St. John Bosco game. That game being played at Cypress College, and you know that the Jackrabbits would like another shot at Fontana, a team that came to Long Beach and throttled the Jackrabbits by 30-some-odd points in a game that, I've got to tell you, the Jackrabbits did not seem really intense about. And standing by in just a moment is Ed Ratliff, who's standing by with head coach Ron Palmer. And as soon as we get our camera operator set up, we will have that interview with Coach Palmer, and we'll go ahead and go to Ed.
For Long Beach Poly High School, you're on your way back to the finals, Coach.
Well, you know what? We kind of like to get there as much as we possibly can. This year started out almost as a complete disaster. And midway through the season, the kids pulled themselves together and decided they were going to play some basketball. And from that point on, we've been playing pretty good defense, and we've been playing together. And the results is another trip to the pond.
I remember talking to her early in the year, you were telling me your kids were starting to turn things around and starting to play together. And tonight, they really showed that they were a team and they did play together.
Well, tonight was one of our better performances. I thought that little Larry McCann came into his own, actually started playing extremely well about 3 or 4 ball games ago. But, you know, it's hard to get a point guard to understand what his responsibilities are on the floor. And we wrestled with that for a good portion of the season. And finally, the last 3 or 4 ball games, he accepted that responsibility, and it has turned our team around.
That's exactly what I was talking about on the air. You had Tyus Edney before, and all of a sudden now Larry McCann comes out, and to prove the point what you're talking about, near the end of the game, when he got that loose ball, he had the presence of mind as a great point guard. The first thing he did was he called timeout.
Right. Hey, look at I can't really say too much about the kid. I can't say too much about the team. And there are a lot of other unsung heroes out there, and I thought Mike Mcdonald, Glenn's son, played an outstanding game, and I was pleased with Damien Dawson's play. You know, hey, when you got a team like this, you just sit back and watch them play ball games, because you never know what's going to happen until the end of the game.
You know, you're exactly right. You don't say very much out there. The kids I know, they know your stance when you look at them. But I thought all three of those kids played really well. And I was telling Willie Padilla, when the season starts, I think you put the final on your schedule.
Hey, I'd love to do that every year. But it's hard to get here. It's not easy.
Coach, great job. Congratulations, and see you in the finals.
All right, Ed. Thanks a lot.
Poly High School, just to beat Los Alamitos. Good job by Poly High School.
Thank you very much.
We'll send it right back to Willie.
Thank you very much, Ed. Congratulations to Ron Palmer and company as they advance to the final, which will be played on Saturday at the Pond. And they'll take on the winner of the Fontana-St. John Bosco matchup being played at Cypress College. 58-48 the final score as the Jackrabbits improve to 20-9. Los Alamitos concludes their 1995 campaign with a record of 22-8. Want to thank our executive producer Dan Smith, director Paul Demore, camera operators Chris Belli, Steve Howe, and David Smith, who made this cable cast possible, as well as the good people over at Cablevision Industries in Long Beach. David Kidd and company, thank you very much for your assistance in this cable cast. Well, that'll do it from the Pyramid as Long Beach Poly advances to another date at the finals as they will play at the Pond on Saturday night with a chance for another 1AA championship. They're a 10-point winner over Los Alamitos. My name's Willie Padilla, for Ed Ratliff, and the rest of our Los Alamitos sports crew. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Griffin Sports.